The following is a special presentation of TNN Motorsports. Dover Downs, a gateway for first-time winners in the NASCAR Busch Series. Mike McLaughlin, Johnny Rumley, they both turned the trick in 1995. But in 1996, Series champ Randy LaJoie owned the monster, sweeping both races. In 1997, LaJoie is again entrenched in a fierce battle to regain his throne. This time the opponent, three-time Dover winner, Todd Bodine. Who will slay the monster today? Find out next. Over the years, 11 drivers have won their first NASCAR Busch Series race at that racetrack, Dover Downs International Speedway in Delaware. But today on TNN Motorsports, it's two of the veterans battling for the championship who have our attention.
That's exactly right. And Todd Bodine, who is currently leading the NASCAR Busch Grand National point standings, will start 8th today. The last time he won here was in 1993. He has a very slim 9-point lead over this man who will start 9th today, Randy LaJoie, the current series champion. Now, LaJoie, as Eli already told you, won the last 2 times here. He always runs great here. This should be one heck of a battle to see who can come out on the top of the point standings after this race today. Why is that so important? Because this is the halfway point of the season. Gatorade pays the leader after today's race a $10,000 bonus, Eli.
Why don't we take a look at exactly how the point standings line up? Here's the 9-point deficit that Glenn was telling you about. Third place team, Jeff Gordon, they're no longer on the series. We'll talk more about that. And Phil Parsons right behind, a very, very tight battle. Welcome to Dover, Delaware. I'm Eli Gold, joined by Darrell Waltrip and Dr. Dick Berggren today. Halfway point on the 1997 NASCAR Busch Series schedule. But Darrell Waltrip, I don't know if folks are talking schedule this weekend as much as they are the racetrack. Boy, it's been tough getting a hold of this place today.
Listen, this baby has lived up to its nickname, White Lightning. When we got here, it was as white as snow. There was no rubber on the track whatsoever. That correlated into a lot of cars crashing, spinning out during qualifying. Neither series was immune. The Winston Cup cars got into trouble. So did the Busch cars. You can see the black that's on the track there now. That rubber has been laid down. The track's a little better. But before it got on the track, it was all up against the wall, those black marks were. So it's going to be a tough day for everybody.
And Dick Berggren, it's really been getting everybody's attention, veterans and rookie alike.
Indeed, the issue here has been one of grip and wear. As far as grip is concerned, the drivers who have hit the wall have said they've had no warning, no notice. All of a sudden, the car is just gone, and boom, in it goes. The other issue, the other question, tire wear. The crews have tried to set the cars up so the tires will last longer. Why? Because this place is exceptionally abrasive. It will take a fast driver to win this afternoon, but also a smart driver, one who can keep the fenders on his car and the tires under it in good condition.
Well, the fastest of the fast this weekend for the NASCAR Busch Series is wily veteran Dick Trickle. He's on the pole. Let's get his thoughts.
Eli, Dick Trickle scored his first career Busch pole and his first ever Busch start, but he had to wait 13 seasons to score his first win. Dick, you're going for the win from the pole, but the bigger concern is tires today. Do you play the rabbit or do you let the race come to you?
Well, you got to know when to hold and when to fold, you know, and in the early part of the race, you know, it's going to grind the tires pretty good because of this cement not having a lot of rubber in it. But as the day goes on, we should be able to get 10 and 15 and 20 laps more on the tires. And we run this every year. The track gets cleaned off and it's abrasive. You know, if they want to run too hard, and if I feel I got to push my car too hard, I'm going to find a place to ride, because the Duraplu people like it when you get in that winner's circle, and of course that's the end result.
Well, that's the end result. His best finish here is a 4th. He hopes to top that today. Now let's go down pit road to Chad Little.
Well, thank you, Matt. Hello, everybody. I'm down here with a man whose car did jump away from him in a big way. Hermie Sadler, you've run really well here in the past. In fact, 5 top 10 finishes in the last 5 times here. But first of all, are you all right? And what can you do? First laps in this car as a backup car. How is the car, and can you come to the front?
Well, I do like Dover. As far as yesterday, the car had been awesome in practice. We had the fastest times, and I think we're the fastest car to turn 4 in qualifying. We just didn't make it back around. But it's the same car we ran at Charlotte here. It ran good at Charlotte, and hadn't made a lap today, but I'm confident that my guys put the same setup under this car as we had yesterday, and We got 200 laps to try to get this thing to the front, but I'm a little sore, but I want to let everybody know that I'm okay and, you know, just happy to be able to race today.
Well, good luck, Hermie. Let's go up to you, Eli.
All right, Chad, thank you. We are under threatening skies, but a good crowd is on hand, and we're certainly tickled you're with us as well. The GM Goodwrench Delco Battery 200 from Dover, Delaware, next. As we welcome you back now to the Monster Mile, Dover Downs International Speedway. Field begins to roll. Let's take a look at the Splitfire starting grid, brought to you by Splitfire. And in the performance zone with Splitfire Performance V spark plugs. Dick Trickle on the Busch pole. Bobby Labonte's last year's pole winner starts on the pole here tomorrow as well. Terry Labonte, a former Busch Series pole winner here. Elton Sawyer back on track after a 43rd place finish a week ago. Stevie Reeves, his 7th race here. And how about Phil Parsons? 9 top 10 finishes in his 11 Dover races. He finished 7th. Elliott Sadler did in his only Dover start. Todd Bodine, the point leader. Randy LaJoy, he won both events a year ago, and first start on the top 20 this year for Randy Porter. Tim Fedewa is 8th in points, and Mark Green goes in 12th. First Busch Series race was here for Steve Park back a couple of years ago. Jeff Burton fastest in the final practice. Joe Bessie and Ron Barfield in his first Dover start. He wrecked here yesterday. Buckshot Jones, 7 top 10s this year. He was 6th a week ago. And Dale Jarrett, his 19th Busch Series start here. Kevin LePage had a great run a weekend ago at Charlotte. And Glenn Allen, who missed the race a week ago, is now in the top 20 here. Ricky Craven, 6 top 5 finishes and 7 visits to the Monster Mile. And Mike McLaughlin, the Loudon winner. Jason Keller, he was 8th at Charlotte, joining Shane Hall. Row 13, Greg Saxon, Jeff Kroll. Mike Dillon and Tracy Leslie in row number 14. Michael Waltrip, who won here in his 4th Busch start back in 1988, starts in 29th, and Mark Crow will go 30th. 31st, Dennis Setzer, he was 10th at Nazareth. Matt Kenseth moving up in the rookie standings in this his 6th race. Patty Moise, first race of this year, but it's our 114th career Busch Series start. Johnny Chapman, 2nd in the rookie points. Jeff McClure, Andy Hillenberg. Jeff Fuller in a backup machine. You heard from Hermie Sadler and Sterling Marlin going shotgun on the field. Now for the AutoZone race analysis, brought to you by the more than 1,550 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. There you see the numbers. Harry Gant, who ran this track probably better than anybody. He continues as the all-time leader here. Along with the Channel Lock team today, as is the case with every one of our Busch Series races. Dale Jarrett has us aboard his White Rain machine. Mike McLaughlin starting middle of the field. His on TNN Motorsports. Bobby Labonte. They're behind the pace car, starting outside of the front row, and our pole sitter, Dick Trickle, the side of Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin, as the field is about set to get the 1 to go signal, and we'll be going racing. High above the speedway, we've got the Brute Blimp bringing us the overhead cameras, and as well you know, Darrell, that is the best smelling
blimp in the air.
It
yes.
really is.
I almost missed my cue there.
I was saying there's much hot air in that thing as there is in the booth.
Thank you very much.
Anytime.
That was my brother hanging out the window of that pace car. You know, he tries every way he can to get on camera. I don't know if anybody recognized him or not, but that was him.
He was something there that weekend after the Winston, I'll tell you. Folks are still talking about it. Let's go down to the pit lane and to Elton Sawyer update.
Eli, the last 3 of the last 4 races, Elton Sawyer has not made it outside of 10 laps. They're hoping today they can get that bad luck off. He says, if we make it to lap 11 without crashing or getting in someone else's mess, you can better believe my crew is going to be doing backflips up and down pit road. So we've got our fingers crossed. We just want to get this bad luck off our backs.
He has fallen victim to accidents in 3 of the last 4 races. So indeed, Elton Sawyer trying to get himself back in gear.
Yeah, you know one thing about it, Eli, starting on the outside here doesn't help that cause at all, because that's a bad place to be on the start.
But at least it's less likely the accident will happen in front of him, and that's why he put so much effort into qualifying. He really wanted to start up front. hoping it was all going to happen behind him.
24 degrees of banking. The straightaways are banked 16 degrees, and the straights are very, very short, just 1,076 feet each. A certified 1-mile racetrack here in Dover, Delaware, the state capital of our first state, and we await the green.
You got to kind of hold our breath. We've seen a lot of trouble on these starts here.
Dick Trickle jumps off into turn number 1.
Nice clean start for everybody so far.
A lot of folks with some give and take here on the first lap of 200. Dick Trickle in the 64, the Dennis Shoemaker car. Shoemaker is from just down the road a piece in Ocean City, Maryland. So he is the sentimental local favorite, if you will, as far as car owners are concerned, as you ride with Bobby Labonte.
He doesn't look like he's working too hard yet. He wasn't fighting the wheel or anything, so he's his car obviously feels pretty good to him.
This is the first time Trickle has ever led a Busch Series race here at Dover in his 6th Busch Series event here. He has led 2 NASCAR Winston Cup races here.
I tell you one thing, Eli, you don't see the cars get in single file this quickly very many places. I mean, boy, they got single file real quick.
Well, they respect the racetrack here and all that's gone on this weekend.
Trickle's crew was hoping that they were going to be able to talk him into cooling it at the very beginning. I asked him this morning, I said, how about it? How good are you at taking it easy? And he wrinkled his forehead and looked at me straight in the eye and said, what do you mean take it easy? What does that mean?
Yeah, he doesn't know what that means. Let's go back to 5th, 6th, and 7th spot right now. You're riding with Phil Parsons. Stevie Reeves right behind him in the 6th spot. There's a better look at the battle from outside the Speedway, or actually inside, if you will. Phil Parsons, Stevie Reeves, Elliott Sadler right behind. Trouble in turn number 3. Spinning around, the Crows have had a tough weekend. That's Jeff Crow, and here comes Dennis Setzer, Patty Moise in the 14. Caution on the Speedway. It comes out at lap number 5. Tough break. Nowhere for Patty Moise to go as Carl Simmons shows the caution. That was a Kyle Petty backup car, that number 14 Pure Silk entry. That was one of Kyle's number 49 NWO cars last week at Charlotte. And we'll take another look, guys, and let's see if we can tell exactly what started the problems.
Yeah, we get a tap in the back end here on the 90. The 56 hits the 99 in the back end.
99 saved it nicely.
Yeah, he did. And everybody looks like they're going to make it through here. He spins around, round, but the problem is he's going to come back down. Right here is Patty right in the middle of the track, and he's going to come right down in front of her.
Well, Sachs just got by there, didn't he?
Everybody
45
did a really good job. There's a car down in Dillon, and there goes Michael, and they're all getting by pretty good here, but
Dennis spun to avoid, and here came Patty.
Yeah, and actually Patty could have missed it too if Dennis hadn't been underneath of her spinning. So unfortunate for her.
So caution for the first time here this afternoon. We are 6 laps complete now of the 200 in the Goodwrench Delco 200. At the Monster Mile, Dover Downs International Speedway, we are working the first caution flag of the day as the cars of Jeff Crow, Dennis Setzer, and Patty Moise got together in turns 3 and 4 on the 5th lap. Meanwhile, at the other end of the field up front, Glenn Jarrett, what are they saying out of the Dick Trickle pits? Everybody happy here in the first few laps?
Well, not as happy as they could be, Eli. Dick says the car is just a little bit loose in the middle of the turns. He doesn't think he can hold Bobby Labonte off much longer. He doesn't want to race anybody real hard at this point in the race this early. So he told his spotter that if I let the 44 go, find me a place to get back in line real quickly. As we've already alluded to, if you get up in that high groove, they'll pass you by one right after another. We can see him go from 1st to 15th in no time. So he won't hold Bobby up. He's going to let him go if he can, but he's looking for a hole to get into.
Pit stops taking place now. Dennis Setzer is in. So too the Mark Crow car. We're seeing stops from Tracy Leslie The Jeff McClure entry is also in, but Chad Little looks as though Patty Moise's day is done.
Yeah, Eli, I'm down here with Patty right now, and of course she's very upset and looking at the replay on the monitor right now. Patty, can you tell us what happened? Walk us through it.
Yeah, Chad. Well, I don't exactly know what happened. It started happening, you know, a little bit before I got there, and everybody was slowed down. The spotter said there's, you know, wreck in front of you, so I slowed down. But you know what it's like to try to slow down the middle of the car. You can only do it so, you know, so quickly. So I bumped the 43, who was already sort of, you know, he was trying to get on the brakes hard too in the middle of the turn, and it spun him. And then I could have made it around him, but whoever spun in front came back down across the track, and I just couldn't miss him. I hate it for the Pure Silk people. We'll be back at Watkins Glen. Just a short day.
All racers have optimism. She'll be back next week. Back up to you.
And of course, that race from Watkins Glen you'll be seeing right here on TNN Motorsports in late June. We've got lots more coming up. We're still early. Both caution flags being displayed here in Dover. For the Dennis Setzer pit.
Eli, a lot of cosmetic damage on Setzer's Chevrolet. Nothing major, though. They put a lot of duct tape on the left front. The valance is dragging a little bit. They had to kind of pry that up, use the Roush roller on the wheel wells. But they say as far as the car goes, it should be okay.
Little work yet to be done on the cleanup, and they have put the lights back on atop the caution cars. So we're another lap or so from going back to green. How comfortably can you get at a racetrack like this, Darrell? I mean, some tracks, guys tell me that, of course, forgetting the mental strain, at a Talladega, you can go down the backstretch, at least wiggle the fingers on the steering wheel and kind of get the circulation going. Do you have any chance to breathe at a place like Dover?
I think one of the things we alluded to in the opening was how Dick did, how the cars are just jumping out from under the drivers. When you go through the turns here as fast as you do, you don't have the side bite here. The tires don't get the grip that we would like for them to have. We don't have the side bite, the G-force getting through the corner. And the track's a little rough. It's got that pitter-pat that you get with concrete. Not a lot of grip, not a lot of side bite. You get the car hopping just a little bit, and it'll jump right out from under you in an instant. That's what the driver's on the edge of his seat about all the time. Never comfortable enough to really jerk that wheel to the left like you'd like to on some racetracks.
Yeah, and never comfortable about knowing when the car is going to go right out from underneath you. This at 140 miles an hour, and so many of the drivers this morning in the garage area seemed legitimately quite concerned. I won't call it fear, but it is just a whole nother emotion realizing what's going on here.
And that backstretch too, Darrell, on top of everything else, is 10 feet narrower than the exit of the turn.
Oh yeah, it looks like a tunnel when you go down the back straightaway. The other factor here too is tire buildup, tire pressure buildup, air in the tires. We're seeing 15 to 20 pounds of buildup inside the tire. That changes the way the car drives, handles, and feels dramatically to a driver.
Well, let's see what happens here. We're getting set to go back to green. Early stages of the 200-miler here at Dover Downs. We had one caution, lap number 5, putting Patty Moise into the garage area. Jeff Crow and Dennis Setzer were also involved. Green is in the air.
If I was Dick Trickle, I'd think twice about letting anybody get by me right now, because you could end up running 40th if you get on that outside.
Dick Trickle in the 64, Bobby Labonte in the 44, Terry Labonte in the 5.
You can see that Bobby really closes the gap on Trickle right in the middle of the corner. So Trickle had it figured out pretty good. He knew where he was hurting at, and Bobby took advantage of it.
And now let's see if he can get back in line. And Trickle does. He just yanks that car back down in 3rd spot.
You don't want to be on the outside this early in the event.
Now, you know, Eli, I'm usually a big Terry Labonte fan. I always call Terry's number and say, watch him at the end of the day particularly.
Right.
I told Terry and Charlotte, I said, man, you've been letting me down. What's going on? He said, I got me a brand new motor this week. Watch me this week. So I got a lot of confidence in Terry Labonte this week. Uh-oh. Sterling Marlin's got it in the fence right here off third pole.
Sterling Marlin, who takes over this weekend as the driver du jour for the James Finch racing team. Next stop at South Boston, Dale Shaw, the great Busch North Series racer, will be back behind the wheel. But Sterling, who's had more than his share of problems this weekend, is off the pace. But we stay under green.
Yeah, he crashed a car in practice, and that was a backup car. And now he's got that one up in the wall. So having a bad weekend for James Finch.
Matt Yoakum, what happened?
Eli, a report from Sterling. He thinks he cut a tire down. He said it just happened so fast that he thinks it's a tire.
He had almost no time at all in that car to practice.
As you ride with Phil Parsons now in the 5th spot.
I just can't reiterate enough about how quickly things happen to you here that you really and truly hear the driver say, I don't know what happened. The things just jump out from under you. They jump in the fence. They jump sideways. There's a lot of movement in the cars here that we don't get anywhere else because of the concrete surface.
Even more so than Bristol?
Even more so because we're going so much faster. Here you're just going 100 and probably 60 miles an hour, 70 maybe into the turns, and that things happen quickly.
There you see Stevie Reeves ahead of Elliott Sadler. They're running 6th and 7th. And right behind them now, there you see Todd Bodine and Randy LaJoie. Remember, again, there's a $10,000 bonus on the line for the point leader in the series. After today's race, this is the 15th of 30 events in 1997. That in its own right is remarkable. We're halfway through this season.
Yeah, we really are. And it's starting to take its toll on these guys, too. They've really been working hard. They travel all over the place. They travel more than we do, I think.
Randy LaJoie's crew chief Steve Bird said to me yesterday, I said, what have you done since last year when that car won both races? He said, we ain't even dusted it off.
And sitting in a corner just waiting for today.
Yeah.
Todd Bodine has won 3 times here at Dover. That's more than anybody else, even more than Darrell, who won twice here.
Yeah, I used to have a lot of fun here when it was asphalt. I ain't had much fun since they put that concrete down.
Darrell winning twice in the NASCAR Busch Series, twice in NASCAR Winston Cup, as we watch this ongoing battle for the series championship at Midway. 8th and 9th this afternoon. Glenn Jarrett, want to jump in?
Yeah, I got a question for Darrell, Eli. It's awfully loud down there. I hope you can hear me. Darrell, we're clocking the leader, Bobby Labonte. We're getting lap times of about 24.3, 24.4. That's only a couple tenths slower than he qualified. The racetrack looks to be a little quicker this morning than it was yesterday afternoon.
Glenn, you could be right. Talking to the Goodyear engineers, there's a lot of concern about tire wear, but the Goodyear engineers told me that if you want to race good here, we brought the right tire. If you want to qualify good here, we brought the wrong tire. They're very, very confident that this is going to be a tire that will be very consistent and give you long runs and consistent speeds.
You're looking at 6th place on back right now on the screen as that battle continues.
And they also say the tire will get better as the race wears on. And what that basically means is that this event should get increasingly competitive as we get closer to the conclusion of the race. A 200-mile, 200-lap contest.
Around the Jeff McClure machine, Elliott Sadler had a little kick out there.
Little Yahoo there.
Sterling Marlin's going to the garage. If you're just joining us, joining Patty Moise as the 2 retirees here this afternoon.
We talked about Bodine having won here 3 times. All 3 of those wins happened when this racetrack was asphalt. He has not yet won on the concrete and said this week, so far I haven't got the concrete figured out.
Yeah, but he also has 13 top 10 finishes in 14 races this year, so that team will figure it. Boy, you get on one of those rolls, you're awfully tough to beat.
Yeah, I think it's only fair to realize that we can talk about records here all we want to, but everything about this place is different except the zip code. That's the only thing that stayed the same.
Now let's take you overhead. There's Stevie Reeves in 6th, as you see across the top of the screen. And we'll show you the interval now, looking back towards the front, and the interval from 6th place back on around towards Bobby Labonte. That is what 5.1 seconds looks like on the racetrack. That interval we just showed you from the 44 back 5 seconds to the number 96 Stevie Reeves and all the guys behind him. We're still early. It is a shell game right now at Dover. Live with you at Dover Downs International Speedway. That is the race leader. Bobby Labonte took over the top spot at lap number 14. And now you see 2nd place right behind them as the scramble is ongoing. And further back even still, that's that pack of Reeves, Todd Bodine, Randy LaJoie, and his chaser right there. That's Steve Park in his 2nd ever NASCAR Busch Series race here at Dover Downs. If you're wondering about Elliott Sadler, there he is trailing this pack right now. And that number 29, he kind of got caught up in traffic, DW, and it cost him about a 1/4 of a lap.
Yeah, he was ahead of that group of cars there, just ahead of Stevie Reeves and LaJoie and them. But he ran up on the back of a slow car, had to get out of the gas, but I give him a lot of credit. He didn't try to do anything crazy. He held his line, let them guys get by and fell in behind them, but it cost him a lot of space on the track.
33 of 200 laps complete on the board right now. Great run for Stevie Reeves in 96.
No kidding. I mean, you know, the guy doesn't get to get up front all that much, and it seems like he's always plagued with some kind of problems. Is having a pretty darn good run right now. It's just amazing to me how some guys, I mean, he is a very capable driver. We all know that. We've seen him driving everything, but he just can't seem to get it all together here in the Busch Series. He got good sponsors and good equipment.
Takes some guys just a while to hit that comfort level.
It's all in the combination, Eli. That's what they always told me. You got to have the right combination. I don't know what they were talking about, if they were talking about car, driver, crew, sponsor, but you got to have the right combination.
Well, he's looked a long time. He's had 67 career starts up until today. Best career finish, 6th, 95 Richmond. He kind of needs to get going.
Those two leaving Steve Park right now. Another blue car in line. LaJoie is really, his car is starting to do just what, you know, you'd expect it to do. It's getting a little bit better every lap. He's starting to be able to cut it down off of turn 4 underneath people a little bit easier every lap.
Well, both races here last year, he said that the racetrack came to him and they have set the car up for today's event, so that would happen as well.
Watch him right here, Dick. He's going to come underneath. Well, there's a slow car in the way.
Andy Hillenberg in the 25 to the outside.
He's all over the back of Reeves, and he's going to get him.
You know, we've been bragging on LaJoie. Heck, he won here back in an old Busch North race in 1984.
Yep.
So, I mean, he's been winning here for over a decade.
And in 85, he had a lap on the field at one of those events when he broke a hub and had to drop out. The first time here, outside pole, finished 4th. He knows this place very well.
How you get these northerners up this way? They say it must be the air or something. They perform much better. Above expectations in a lot of cases.
Above the Mason-Dixon line.
Yeah.
You know something, in all seriousness, though, you take a look at the heavy northeastern element to the NASCAR Busch Series now, with a great learning grounds of the modifieds. They say if you can drive a modified, you can step into most anything else, and it's really showing.
I would think that once you've driven a modified, getting in a Busch car or a car with a body on it would be a piece of cake.
Further back behind this pack, Jeff Burton beginning to rumble right now. He's in the number 9 right there, the 88 LePage. Both of those guys going by Todd Bodine right now, is backsliding just a bit. Burton coming in off the concrete win at Bristol, Tennessee, and not just concrete in performance, but concrete of racetrack as well, as we have here.
And this is the same car he won with there. This is called Old Faithful. He run it at Richmond, Darlington, Texas, Bristol. It has led every single race it has been in up until today. And the way Burton is running, going to add today to that list as well.
Around Stevie Reeves right there. What's the deal with these concrete tracks, Darrell, as far as, if you will, a so-called concrete car? Is it a different ride height or something?
No, it's all in the rigidity of the frame. People have found that for the car to work well on these concrete tracks, the concrete is so mean, it's got all that chatter in it, that you've got to have a stronger chassis. So everybody's going in and redoing and redesigning the chassis, not so much from geometry, but just from pure and simple strength, so that you can handle the tires and the springs that it shocks that it takes to run on these concrete racetracks. And there really is. I have a concrete car. This is my first effort at making a concrete car, and it's much better than cars I've had before.
Interesting. Stevie Reeves has backslid. There you see him. He's now into 10th spot. Matt, what's going on there? Just got caught up in traffic or what?
That's totally correct, Eli. The biggest thing, though, for Stevie Reeves this year has been his new crew chief, John Byrosh. They both come from an open-wheel background. He says, Stevie and I can both talk the same language. Stevie says, well, you know, when I'm at a dirt track and I go in and the right rear feels like this, he goes, I know exactly how to fix that. So they're both from an open-wheel background, and Stevie says our communication is great, and look for good things from us this year. We got our first pole 2 years ago on the cement at Bristol. We're hoping for a good run today because we've got a Roush motor. Things are really looking up.
Meanwhile, as you see Reeves there, let's go closer to the front because the battle is beginning to really heat up. Bobby Labonte in the 44. His comfortable lead over brother Terry has now evaporated to that spread you see on your screen. What's cooking, Glenn? What are they saying?
Well, they're watching the clock, Eli, and the lap times have fallen off a full second since about 20 to 25 laps ago.
To concern yourselves with, but at lap number 50, NASCAR has decided to let the teams come in and take a look at tire wear, and they're basically following up on all we've been talking about here this afternoon.
Yeah, I really applaud that call, because these guys have not been out on the racetrack for this many consecutive green flag laps, and we do know that tire wear is a factor here at this racetrack until we get a lot of rubber down. So this is the right thing to do, and I'm really glad that they did it.
By the way, you see that track inside the big track? If you've never seen Dover Downs, that's a harness race track that operates here throughout the course of the year. And on the left of the screen there, those buildings you see are the enclosed horse racing grandstands, and then a casino that has been built here, now a couple of years old, at Dover Downs as part of the entertainment complex here in the state capital of Delaware. Glenn Jarrett, Bobby Labonte coming your way.
And he brings that Pontiac to a stop here. This will be 4 tires and fuel only. They told me that they will not make any adjustments whatsoever. And what we want to do is, as soon as they get those right side tires over here, we're going to take a look at them. Right now, Chad Little's in Terry Labonte's pit.
Yeah, I'm right down here next to Bobby looking at Terry's, and they're also doing 4 tires. I don't see a chassis adjustment going on, but let's go down to Matt and see what you see.
An update on Todd Bodine. His car was loose. They put a rubber in the right rear tires and wheels. Let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
They quickly opened Terry Labonte's hood. I can't see what they're looking at. Looks like there might be a small oil leak. They see some fumes coming out. They're looking for something, but it's really hard to tell right now. Doesn't seem to be a big panic. They're closing the hood and taking right off, but they lost a lot of track position.
That's the patriarch of the family going back behind the car there, Bob Labonte.
That's the pin out. I guess they're going to come back in probably.
Yeah, there you see on the
center pin.
Center pin on the hood. But all of these stops taking place at lap number 51. Now at lap 52, the cars that were a lap or more down will be coming in. There you see them entering for their pit stop as called for by NASCAR. When we come back, we'll get an update on the tire wear from the fellows down on the pit lane, and we'll be going back green live on TNN Motorsports. We're coming right back. Getting set to get the 1-to-go signal here at Dover Downs Speedway in Delaware. All right, Glenn Jarrett, how'd those tires look coming off the cars here?
Well, so far they're looking real good. We got Tony Freund down, who is with Goodyear. He has checked Bobby Labonte's and Terry Labonte's tires. Of course, he's talking to everybody. Just real briefly, Tony, what do they look like so far?
Oh, tires look fine. Wear rates have really slowed down from when we arrived here yesterday. Everything looks fine.
Well, it certainly does from my point of view, too. Let's go to Matt.
The Busch Series guys aren't the only ones concerned about tires. Todd Bodine's brother Brett is down here. Brett, you're looking over the tires. How'd they look to you?
Well, the tires look great. You know, Goodyear, very fortunate that the tires are looking real good, and the track's rubbered in a lot. And this racetrack's changed a lot since these guys last ran on it yesterday afternoon, and they're all fighting their handling problems a little bit. Todd's a little bit loose, but they'll get that Stanley Tools dialed in.
Well, let's go to Chad Little.
Okay, I'm down here in Terry Labonte's pit with crew chief Bob Labonte, and it appears what happened is they had a plug wire fall off about the last 15 laps of green. They desperately needed this caution. They jumped in there. They put the plug wire back on. They think that's the problem. They did have some missing in the last practice yesterday, but they're all confident that they found the problem. Now, we looked down the pits. We saw Phil Parsons come in, and all we could tell is he put the another left rear tire on. So we assume that they made a mistake, and they got the incorrect left rear tire on there, but they replaced that, and we'll have to see how he's running now. Back up to you.
So green flag is in the air, and we head back off into turn number 1. Restart at lap number 57.
Well, that's two good cars at the back of the field. There's Terry Labonte and Phil Parsons, and they got their work cut out for them now, buddy, to get back through all that traffic.
25th and 26th, respectively. They've got a lot of traffic to get through to get back to the front again, Darrell.
Yeah, and they were running 2nd and 4th, so bad timing on pit stop. I guess maybe good for Terry.
A lot of racing still to go, though. We're only about 57 of 200 here today.
Yeah, the thing that always worries you, when you get all the cars bunched up on these restarts, that something can happen in front of you. You just got to be on your toes. Drive aggressively, but drive cautiously. Sounds like a spotter, doesn't it?
Yeah. There's Dick Trickle in the 64. He was the Busch pole sitter with whom we are riding now. Dick is in 6th position. Yesterday, for sure, nobody was able to do anything with Dick Trickle.
And that doesn't surprise you. You know, you take a guy with all the knowledge and experience he has, he comes to a racetrack that's got a bad surface and the cars are all over the place, and he's out there just cool, calm, smoking his cigarette, drinking a cup of coffee, and sitting on the post. Another day at the office.
Man, is something. Ron Barfield there in the 94. Randy Porter in that green and white uniforms entry right there in the middle of your screen. Matt Kenseth in the 17. Tim Fedor in the 33. We're looking there at 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th. And there's problems off the number 2 corner.
Yeah.
Mark Green found the wall, but he continues on. We remain under Green.
He got just a little touch from the rear there. He got up out of the groove, got a little touch in the rear. He did a great job of hanging on to her. I don't think he hit the wall, actually. Them Owensboro boys, they can get out of control and get it back better than anybody I ever saw.
There goes Dale Jarrett now in the 32 to the inside of Jeff Fuller.
Fuller's had a tough time the last couple of weeks. He crashed at Charlotte, crashed the week before that. He had a real hard crash here in one of the early practice sessions. 3 cars in 3 tries.
Jarrett now running in 10th spot in the White Rain entry.
Yeah, it seems to be feast or famine for him. Either run really good and got a shot at the win, or else he's in the wall.
Dale Jarrett has Jack Roush power under the hood of the car this week.
I was just going to say that. He's got Roush power, and he's got Bobby Leslie from Jack Roush's organization here taking care of that engine.
Oh, got trouble down the front, guys.
Main straightaway. That's another problem for the Crows. Jeff
Caution will be out when you get here.
Caution on the Speedway.
Caution will be out when you get here.
And the caution, 3rd of the day, coming out at lap number 63.
I can't tell you how close that came to being a huge disaster. Guys did a great job. There was some bumping that went on behind that guy there that was spinning, but everybody was able to hang on to him.
Meanwhile, Chad Little with a further update on that stop by Phil Parsons a while ago.
Well, thanks, Eli. In all fairness to Phil's team, we had to come down here and find out for sure what was wrong. It wasn't the wrong tire on the left rear. They did have a flat. Phil recognized it, came in real quick. They changed it, and now they're trying to find out from NASCAR if that's going to go against them, and they're allotted 3 sets of tires for this race.
So that's the clarification on the Channel Lock team. With that stop of earlier, Phil being shown in 24th spot. There's Joe Bessie, and he has had a problem here also, Matt.
Eli, during the last round of pit stops, the jack fell just when tire changer Ricky Vyers had his hands inside, getting ready to pull the tire off. The fender pinched his fingers. He's heading back to the Winston Cup garage. They've got ice on it. It's wrapped up. But keep in mind, he also has to change tires for Ward Burton tomorrow. Ricky says he thinks he's going to be okay, but they're going to have to check his fingers out.
I'm down in Terry Labonte's pits. I asked his father and crew chief, Bob Labonte, if he was okay now. They said, yeah, that solved the problem. He will not be back in. We picked up a radio conversation between Steve Park and his crew chief, Tony Urey. Steve wanted to know if those were stickers they put on. Tony said, yep. Steve said, well, they're very, very tight. He's tied in and tied off. That means one thing, I think, Darrell, they're finally starting to get some rubber build up on this racetrack, so we can see some real racing now.
Yeah, and you know what they'll do now? They'll look for a new groove.
They'll start moving up.
Yep, that wore that one out. Go to another one.
And how many of you folks are at home waving your fingers right now after that story that Glenn told, or that Matt told before about Ricky Vyers? There's Mike McLaughlin, the guy they call Big Guy, is jacking up the car, Matt.
Well, they're taking the outside tires off. It's going to be a 4-tire stop for Mike McLaughlin. 4 tires in fuel. He just missed that crash in the front straightaway. They were taking a big sigh of relief because it happened right in front of him, and he's down and away.
Mike looking forward to a good run here today. He finished 33rd last week at Charlotte and dropped to 9th in points, trying to turn that around here today at Dover Downs. About set to go back to green here at Dover Downs, Delaware. Let's take a look again at what went on a moment or so ago, and this kind of answers a question, Darrell, about Mike McLaughlin's situation.
Yeah, he's coming down here, and he's really coming fast, and all of a sudden, that car, he doesn't know where it's going to go. He had to lock the wheels up. I'm sure he flat spotted his tires, and that's why he had to come in and get 4 tires. Very reminiscent of a situation that happened to him down at Talladega.
That's right.
And McLaughlin won here the very first time these cars raced on the concrete. That was June in 1995. The tire they're running today is very similar to that tire, and you might think, oh, they are going to be in great shape for this race, but the crew said, nope, takes a whole different setup.
So with those tires having been flat spotted, McLaughlin makes the change. We're set to go back to green here, wrapping up the 3rd caution of the afternoon. Little tip of the hat to Kevin LePage, who started 19th. He's running in 7th now on this restart. We'll update you here at lap number 68 as we go.
Yeah, Kevin and Jeff Burton have made really, really big gains from toward the front all during that 50-lap run. And I think Burton's going to be somebody they're going to have to deal with here pretty quick.
Yeah, he's come from 14th all the way up to 3rd spot.
Riding with Dick Trickle as everybody you see sorts themselves out on the restart.
Yeah, I just hope they stay that way. Sorted out.
That's 1st and 2nd right there. Bobby Labonte and Randy LaJoy. Labonte took the lead from Dick Trickle at lap number 14. There's Jeff Burton closing in a hurry now. He's cleanly in 3rd.
Remember last week at Charlotte Motor Speedway, if you were there or watched it, this guy, Labonte, in the 44, led so many laps and then dropped out with what everybody thought was a blown engine. It was just a valve spring. They changed all the valve springs. Same motor in the car today. It looks like it's running just as well as it ran last week, too.
Yeah, he and Terry both. That was what Terry was telling me. He's got an engine just like Bobby's this week. He didn't have last week. He was very, very confident coming into this race that he was going to have a good day.
T&L. T&L in both cars.
There you see 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
That's the 48 car, I think, going up high in turn 3 there.
But everybody stays clean and green. There you see Randy Porter, the green and white machine.
I think he may have cut a tire down or something, and he just took off.
Right front looks a bit soft there. Of course, there are some teams who have over the years dropped the tire pressure a bit here at Dover in particular.
Well, as I said earlier, Eli, we get 15 to 18 pounds of buildup in that right front tire. You try to compensate for that somewhat, and you got to be careful. You get it too low, you'll tear the bead up in the tire, and the tire will blow out on you.
Randy LaJoy there in 2nd. You know, it doesn't matter where he starts. Started 9th today. He's running 2nd. He won here last June, starting in 16th. He won here in September, starting in 24th.
Yeah, I told Mr. Bumgardner I have been totally impressed with his operation, because whether it's Johnny Benson or Randy LaJoy or whomever they put in that car, Birdie and them, they get it working for them, and they're contenders.
If you're a Sterling Marlin fan, he is back on the racetrack now after an accident earlier, and there he has Dick Trickle in the wall.
On the bottom, stay hard, stay up, and come on.
Hard in the wall. Pull back into that car has collapsed.
The leader has gotten it at the stripe, so we are under caution. Bobby Labonte shows the way. Dick Trickle.
Yeah, he seems to be okay. He's trying to get her fired up there. That's Dick Leroy Trickle right there. I hope he's fine. He seems to be.
They're saying at the moment that Sterling Marlin was back on the track 56 laps down, and no sooner did he come back then Trickle had this problem. Dick says, heck, I've driven cars like this. Let's just fire up and go.
Yeah, well, like I've said, riding a wrecked race car is a whole lot better than riding an ambulance any day.
Amen to that.
Oh, look at the back end of that car. Just pushed right to the back tire.
Looks like it went under the fence.
It looks like one of those old Gremlins or something. Let's take another look here and see exactly what we can find out. That's Kevin LePage there with him.
He just gets up a little high and, well,
I don't know if there was contact or if it was air.
Or if it just went.
It's hard to say.
Oh, man.
Man, that was a lick.
He hit hard.
But knowing Trick like I do, I think he may have got nerfed.
See the coil spring come flying out of the back end of the car?
Yeah.
That's how hard he hit. Took the spring out.
But you also notice no fuel, no problems in that regard.
And that's most important. No fire.
But I really couldn't tell. We'd have to get an update when we hear from Dick Trickle as to what transpired there. Glenn Jarrett's on the pit lane.
Guys, I just asked his crew chief, Brian Schaefer, if Dick said if the 88 car got into him. He said yes, definitely. He did nudge him just a little bit, so that helped him along there. So what we could see there was pretty much kind of what I thought. It was really hard to tell, but Brian said, yeah, that LePage did get into him just a bit.
And there you see NASCAR officials and some media members beginning to check things out. That's the way racing happens. Quick at Dover. Out on hand here for the Saturday activities. The NASCAR Busch Series leading up to tomorrow's Miller 500 for the NASCAR Winston Cup teams. Here again, a look from Dick Trickle's in-car at the spin. Around she goes. Camera didn't like it either.
I think it speaks for itself.
Chad Little, give us an update. Doesn't look pretty.
Well, we're down here in the garage with the dejected Dick Trickle, and obviously you can see the wreck. It was pretty bad. Dick, can you tell us what happened and if you're okay?
Well, you know, we were just riding there, you know, trying to save our tires. After 50 laps, Goodyear said our tires look the best of anybody's because we're really trying to hold our tires because I knew the end of the run was going to be troublesome. And we're just riding along there, finding a spot that nobody wanted to push. Got a little tap from the 88 car coming off of 2, and that's all it takes here, you know.
It does. Just take a little tap. Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. You know, I hit the ball pretty hard, as you see here, but no, I'm fine. It's just a shame because we had, you know, we could have possibly won the race and for sure a good top 3 car here, and you know, here it is, bumper to bumper damage, you know, and pretty early in the race for something like that to happen.
All right, back up to you, Eli.
All right, Chad, Dick Trickle was 6th in points. Now it's time for our Big A driver of the race. It is that gentleman, driver of the Channel Lock car. After a couple of seasons of frustration, Phil Parsons and the Channel Lock team are looking strong in 97. 10 top 10 finishes in 14 races. Sure, they want to win, but they also look at the big picture.
You know, I tell people it's too early to think about points, but it's not too early to chase points. I mean, you know, from December 1st on, we've thought about points and have concentrated on ways to try to, you know, get all the points we can get. Now, that doesn't mean that we're not trying to win races. That's our primary goal, is to win races.
Phil Parsons having himself a 1997 season that, heck, who knows, could yield a title because he's been so consistent.
I tell you, I've been totally impressed with Phil, his concentration and his dedication this year to what he's out doing, trying to win this championship. He has never run so well. He's never driven better, and he's got a great team. And I'll tell you, I've been a big fan of his all year long because he's been very impressive all year long.
I don't know, I've said it before too, but he's also had some good luck on his side. He's missing accidents this year that he was slap in the middle of a year ago.
You got it. They used to say he needed glasses. Yeah, they said sometimes they needed close-up glasses, sometimes far away. They don't say that anymore. No. He has done an absolutely wonderful job of avoiding the problems here.
We're set to go back to green. There you see Phil settling in line right now.
I think just to follow up on that, there's a lot of guys out there that need glasses if you go by that.
We could open up an optometrist office here and have them thrive.
I'm sure the Trickle by LePage is set right now.
Pace car is pulling down the pit lane, and Bobby Labonte, who took the lead at lap number 14, leads them back to the stripe here at lap number 79.
It'll be interesting to see if Labonte can win this thing today. He started at Dover 9 times prior today. Never won. He led the most laps in this race in 96. He's finished 2nd, 3rd, 5th here. Never won in the Cup here either.
Well,
he's won a couple poles.
A guy that was really hanging it out there, trying to get a lap back was the Buckshot. He was up on the outside there, dirt tracking off of turn 2 and 4, but that didn't pay off.
And he was confident coming in. Buckshot was. He had the car here that he won with at Milwaukee a year ago, and he said, well, maybe there's something left in that car, but couldn't quite keep in line. Didn't get back on the lead lap. So there are the front 2. And if you're just joining us, Dick Trickle led the first 13 laps. Then Bobby Labonte, who fields a challenge now from Randy LaJoie. Got him. Turn 1. Here comes the 9 as well. That's Jeff Burton we were talking about before.
Boy, he squeezed that thing in there. I'm telling you right now, good thing Bobby Labonte cut him a little slack.
And Elton Sawyer in the 38. There you see him moving to the inside of Bobby Labonte. And Kevin LePage in the 88, all getting inside of Bobby Labonte. Matt Yoakum is down in Kevin LePage's pit.
An update on Kevin's side of the story with the Dick Trickle accident. He said that Dick kind of pushed up, so he started to go on the inside, then Dick came back down, and they made contact, and then Dick went around. Their bigger problem could be a vibration. They said the car was vibrating very bad after the pit stops. Now it's gotten a little bit better. They thought it might have been a lug nut. Now they think it's a wheel weight. We're going to have to wait and see what it is when we stop next at lap 100.
Well, there's always 2 sides to every story, and you know, maybe Trick got a little loose, or maybe had to squeeze up out of the throttle, or maybe we never know. You got to give a guy a little bit of room when you're racing this close together.
Look at LaJoie out there in the lead, running so well. Never led here at Dover until last year. He led 2 races last year and won them both. This will be the 3rd race that he has led in this series.
If you're curious about Todd Bodine, there he is, along with Steve Park. They're battling for 6th and 7th now.
You know, Eli, Todd Bodine must have a whale of a pit crew because he kind of falls back once they go green. But every time they have a restart, he's right back up there in the top 5 or 6. So they're doing a great job for him in the pits, apparently.
Steve Park had a mixed bag kind of week. As you see the pass now from Dale Jarrett's perspective, Park had a great test in a Winston Cup car at Pocono on Tuesday. On Wednesday, he lasted only 3 laps before he put that same car in the wall off at turn 1, and their test session was done.
Well, that's the thing about rookie drivers. They're going to impress you, but they're going to depress you, too.
Well, they kind of have to run into the wall once in a while to find out where the edge is, don't they, Darrell?
Yeah, there's some of them that do that right away and learn quickly, and there's others that doesn't seem like it ever happens to them. So that is a factor, though.
That is 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Todd Bodine, Dale Jarrett, Steve Park, and Elliott Sadler. And again, LaJoie right now with a 21-point lead at the top of the standings. And the significance of that, if you're wondering why we're showing it to you on May the 31st, is because, again, this is the halfway point of the season. And the point leader after today's race will take home a $10,000 bonus from Gatorade. See if Steve Park can make the move around Jarrett for 6th. Got him. Up front, Randy LaJoie and Jeff Burton. There's the spread, 1st to 2nd. They come to the stripe to complete lap number 88. Just 12 laps shy of halfway here at the Monster Mile. Patty Moise, she's in the garage, done for the day. Dick Trickle also finished after his accident of moments ago. 4 caution flags thus far for a total of 21 laps. We're live on TNN Motorsports, and there's a look at your leader. Is the battle for the lead as we welcome you back to Dover, Delaware. Eli Gold, Dick Bergman, Darrell Waltrip, Glenn Jarrett, Matt Yoakum, Chad Little. We're all here, and we're certainly glad you are as well. Let's see if Jeff Burton can make the move.
Yes, he can. He's been working on LaJoie lap after lap. He finally put enough heat on him that he gave way to him getting down in the first turn there.
Jeff Burton, who won on the concrete track at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Boy, look at Randy. He doesn't give up, does he? He's got that tenaciousness about him that he's not going to give up. He's going to put the heat right back on him and say, buddy, you did it to me. I'm going to pay you back.
Went inside of Andy Hillenberg in the number 25.
That was the first lap Burton ever led here in Grand National Series.
Right.
Run 10 times until today. First time he's ever led a single lap. Finished as high as 2nd.
I thought he might pull away from Randy, but boy, I'm telling you what, Randy is all over the back of him. And you know, you get just ever so slightly bit of draft here on this racetrack. The car in 2nd place can feel a little free air. Oh, here he goes, right back by.
Took a little advantage when he slipped up the banking.
You know what it looked like, Eli? Once Jeff got in front there, it looked like he was overdriving the car, really carrying it into the corner hard and getting it shoving up the racetrack. He'll run a much lower line when he's behind Randy.
Look how different the racetrack looks now going into the corner as opposed to coming off. You'll see LaJoie go in, and when he does, the racetrack is almost completely white. Not much tire wear there, but watch as he comes out. You see how it gets darker and darker as he's coming out?
Yeah, that's that side bite and that grip we were talking about that the cars will really put down after they run a while.
Easy in, hard out.
Yep, that's it. That looked like what Jeff was doing. The Burton there was really charging the corner, got his car going up the track, and then Randy was able to get back up under him.
Well, that's how most of the guys have gotten in trouble here, going into the corner too hard, and then the back end gets around on them and they find the wall. So the other guys have seen what's happened, have kind of taken it a little bit easier going into the corners, except these two. They don't seem to be taking it easy at all for the lead.
No, but I tell you something that's happening right behind them. The 88 car, the 44 car, they're closing right up on their back bumper.
Give them the pace. see his money, Carlo.
You, buddy, halfway.
And they are at halfway now, halfway home in the GM Goodwrench Delco Battery 200.
You know, you have to think about Randy LaJoie leading the points, wanting to win that halfway money that Winston's putting up, or Gatorade, I guess it is. Right. And here's another guy right behind him that just wants to win a race, just wants to win the race. He's out there not thinking points or anything else. So two contrasting tactics here, if you will. Of course, you got a guy like Randy LaJoie. He wants to win, points, championships, races, the whole deal. So I guess that's the kind of driver you really like to have in the car all the time.
Page of that 88 is extremely strong. He had a great run last weekend at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Finished second in the big 300-miler there.
That was his best finish since Homestead when he was the winner some 14 races ago. There's the Stanley Tools mid-race report. Since 1843, Stanley has been helping people do things right. Average speed down just a tick because of the 4 cautions. And only Patty Moise and Dick Trickle are in the garage area.
Bobby Labonte right in there as well. The front 4 are getting closer and closer together. Well, Goodyear promised us it was going to get more competitive as the race wore on, and that's exactly what's happening. We're seeing more passing, more lanes beginning to develop, and the drivers are figuring out what they have to do to get by each other. This thing could be really good as we get right toward the end.
Yeah, we got pretty good racing going on everywhere, really. We got 34 and 10 back here, Mike McLaughlin and Phil Parsons, and they've had a whale of a race ever since they went back to green. Phil's been up beside of Mike a couple of times, but he hadn't been able to make the pass.
That's 20th and 21st positions now. Those battles that are ongoing there between McLaughlin and Phil Parsons.
And if Phil has a good day, and really by default, he's going to move into 3rd place because Jeff Green, as you mentioned earlier, Eli, is not running the Busch Series this year or this week, and I guess he won't the rest of the year. So Phil's going to ease himself right into 3rd place in the Busch Series standings.
NASCAR timing and scoring presented by MCI across the top of the screen.
And you know what? Just being a race fan and watching races on TV, there you go.
Jeff Burton takes it right back for the lead.
But I was going to say about the timing and scoring across the top of the screen is the best thing they've ever done. Because, man, it sure is frustrating if you're a car owner or an interested fan sitting at home wondering where your favorite driver's running.
Well, the way they do that, and it's, boy, look at this battle as well. The way they do that is each car has a transponder. It's a little electrical box that rides in the back end of the car. There's a couple of wires buried in the racetrack up in the turn 4 area. And every time the car goes over those wires, it picks it up electronically. It sends everybody's lap times, lap speeds, positions. The whole thing is electronically done now, so everybody knows where everybody's at.
Yeah, there's Steve Park's mom. Yeah. Turn
Sure
around away. There you go. The whole family is here from East Northport, Long Island, where, of course, Bob Park is a long-time NASCAR modified great. Phil Parsons finally making that move on McLaughlin there. 20th and 21st swapping positions. Johnny Chapman has gone to the garage, as has Greg Sachs. Chapman was 2nd in the NASCAR Rookie of the Year standings for the Busch Series. Already some 500 points behind Park, and this will not help with Steve running as well as he is, and Chapman in the garage. But that's how it stacks up front right now, with Burton showing the way ahead of Randy LaJoie. Middle stages at Dover. That's the battle for the lead here at Dover Downs International Speedway. 25.5 seconds. It's what it's taken these guys to make the lap now here in the middle stages at the Monster Mile. Randy LaJoie and Jeff Burton showing the way. You've got right behind them Kevin LePage in 3rd, Bobby Labonte 4th, Steve Park, Dale Jarrett is 6th, Todd Bodine, Elton Sawyer, Michael Waltrip now 9th, and Terry Labonte running in the 10th spot. He's beginning to creep back up to the front. Your brother's doing well, DW.
Yeah, the old Band-Aid car is running pretty good today, and Michael told me he thought he had a car good for the long runs. And then, of course, I told you early on about Terry. He felt he was going to have a great day. Had that problem with the plug wire. Had to go to the rear of the field, but he is coming back with a vengeance.
And there they are, 9th and 10th. We told you about Hermie Sadler earlier in the day. There you see Tim Fedua in the 33. He's running 14th. And Hermie, who started all the way back at the end of the field there in 38th, he has now run up towards the 15th spot. Remember, he's got top 10 finishes now 5 times in a row here at Dover.
And he's also got a pair of black eyes. He hit the wall so hard yesterday that both eyes got blackened. He said he's stiff, he's sore. It's the same car he ran in Charlotte. They didn't even have time to cosmetically fix it up. And a lot of courage to be back out here again, running as hard as he is, given how hard he hit yesterday.
Now, we showed you that wreck earlier in the telecast. He took a lick.
Yeah, he did. And Doc and Eli, he was the fastest guy in practice, and he was going to sit on the pole. I think he just maybe tried too hard. And, Buddy, when that thing came out from under him, it went into that outside retaining wall about as hard as anything I've ever seen.
And that number 94, Barfield, he had a wild qualifying run, lost it off the 4th corner. He came across the line backwards. And so some of the guys in the garage were saying, well, with the transponder in the back, maybe that's smart. You put the back end of the car across the line first, but they don't do it that way. They do it with a timing light here rather than the transponder for qualifying.
Well, the folks at Napa, they keep America running and keep that scoring banner running for you. There's Matt Kenseth, number 17. Haven't talked much about him today, but he is now in 12th spot. He started 32nd, and, you know, he is really impressed since taking over early in the season from Tim Bender.
Yeah, he's come up through the ASA ranks, and he's made a lot of good impressions on a lot of people, and he's doing a whale of a job in that car right there.
He never saw this place before he came for this race weekend. Had never been to Dover, Delaware, and given the level of difficulty of this racetrack, boy, he's doing a terrific job.
Back up front now with Randy LaJoie and Jeff Burton. Only 6 races left on the Busch Series schedule for Jeff Burton this year. Running not obviously the full schedule, but a limited schedule. They won at Bristol, as we told you.
We haven't talked much about our old friend Elton Sawyer. He was wanting to get past that first 10 or 15 lap mark, and he's done a whale of a job of doing that. His car's running really well, very competitive, keeping up with everybody.
Chad Little, what are we looking at now pit stop wise? These lead lap cars pitted at lap 51. How close are we, do you think, for another round of stops?
Well, I think we're within the window to have a pit stop right now by some of the leaders. They could come in right now and go the distance on fuel. We know that the tires are concerned, but talking with a few of the leaders, they think they can go the distance on tires as well. I wouldn't be surprised to have some of the guys come in right now, then they can go the rest of the way without a stop.
So at lap 124 right now. Why don't we break away real quickly, and we'll be back in time for those pit stops for you. It's all live here on TNN Motorsports on a cloudy but an exciting day in Dover, Delaware. Welcome back to Dover, Delaware. You're watching the 19th place man, Phil Parsons, try not to go a lap down.
Yeah, he's
trying.
He's worked hard to keep them behind him, but they got a little bit more steam than he's got.
Saw the sheet metal in the back of his car flopping around in that in-car shot. He got a smack in the back end somewhere along the line.
Back to Glenn Jarrett.
Guys, I was asking Steve Bird, crew chief on the 74 car, how far they would go. Had to write him a note. He said to lap 170. The car owner, Bill Bumgarner, took it from me and wrote VL saying to victory lane. They're saying they can go to lap 170 before they have to come back in. I don't know about that.
Well, you see the lead swapping around during the course of that dissertation there, so maybe that'll change their minds a bit.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit concerned, Eli, because the cars, like Phil, I watched him, and he was starting to pick up a good bit of push. The 74 looks like he might be fighting the thing just a little wee bit. That's a good indication the tires are going just about as far as they want to go. So I wouldn't mind seeing something happen here on tires pretty quick.
We're at lap number 129. The last stop for the leaders came in at lap number 51 when NASCAR had the tire stop mandated. There have been a couple of other cautions since then, but only a handful of teams took advantage of either of those cautions. There's Elliott Sadler and Matt Kenseth battling there for 11th and 12th spot. A couple of the bright young stars of future Busch Series seasons.
I've watched Elliott on and off most of the day. He's really driving a conservative race. When somebody gets up around him or he has to, he'll give way. He'll let the faster car go. And, you know, they said early in the interview there they just wanted to log miles today. Him and Sandy Jones are doing a good job of that.
Elliott only had 3 top 10 finishes a year ago, but one of those came right here.
He's one of those young guys that's not only fast, he is very, very smart. He really uses his head. He saves his race car. The way he develops his strategy behind the wheel, picks his line, he has got it all together. You're going to see an awful lot of this young man for many years to come.
Yeah, watching him at Nazareth when the pressure was on at the end of the race, never cracked. Stayed right there solid and won the race.
Let's see how Jeff Burton works traffic now, guys. That is he in the 9. He's the race leader. He's got Jason Keller in the car he calls Cat just ahead of him. Looks like the cat's been declawed there on the left front.
Ricky Craven just took a pit stop. He has been off the pace today in relation to the way he ordinarily runs. Craven is usually among the leaders here at Dover. Not today.
Well, traffic's allowing LaJoie to really tighten it up.
What goes through your mind in a deal like this, DW? I mean, there you are. You're the race leader. You got this guy in front of you, and it is so hard to pass.
Yeah, well, it's pressure on everybody. The guy in front there doesn't want to go a lap down, so he's going to be pretty aggressive. He's not going to just roll out of the way. So you got to stick it in there and let him know you mean business, but you don't want to take too many chances when you're leading a race.
And remember, Keller is on the lead lap. He's in 17th. He's trying to stay with the leaders here. Dillon just ahead of him, the 72 car. He's in 16th spot. 94 Barfield on the lead lap at 15th. So these guys aren't going to yield that lap very easily. We'll tell you how it all shakes out here in a moment or so. Got a breakaway at lap number 135 of 200. There's the rundown. Welcome back to Dover Down Speedway in Delaware. The NASCAR Busch Series. Busch pole man Dick Trickle had the lead for a while, lost it there, lap number 72. Shortly thereafter, Jeff Burton took the lead, lap number 95. 2 laps later, Randy LaJoie says, I want it back. Burton says, no, I want it back. And that's what's been happening today at Dover. Lap 142 on the board right now, and there is the battle for the lead. Burton in the 9, LaJoie just underneath your logo there in the 74. Still haven't gotten away from Jason Keller, nor Mike Dillon just ahead of them. Dillon, who started 27th, he's running 15th right now, and they're not going to go quietly.
No, those guys are really running pretty well, and you know, with tire wear the way it is, and getting close to a pit stop here, there's a good chance they can hang on, keep holding them guys up till they can get into pits.
We're starting to see some pit stops now, Glenn Jarrett. We're going longer than we did earlier. How are the tires looking at this stage?
Well, this tire off of Stevie Reese's car doesn't look very good. You can see the cord showing through. However, the ones that I had seen before have been on the outside of the tire. This is the inside of the tire. That could also be a problem with the way the front end is set up, but it might just be the tire wear. What about it, DW?
Well, it can be a combination of both, but the tires do have a tendency to wear the most on the inside. I mean, that's what we put the most pressure on, is the inside of the tire. It's hard to get it ideal perfectly all the way across.
Now, for the folks who are new in the sport, why pressure more severe on one side versus the other?
All right, when the car travels into the banking the way it does, the wheels travel up. And when the wheel travels up, it kicks out at the bottom, which will put more pressure, more camber automatically into the tire. We adjust that from our practice, but as this grip improves, then the camber will need to change, and you can't do that during the race.
Again, MCI presenting NASCAR timing and scoring for you across the top of the screen here today. Same thing tomorrow, as is the case of all of our NASCAR coverage. Coming up later today on TNN Motorsports, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series from New Hampshire International Speedway.
Got a car up high in turn 3 and 4 down there.
That was Buckshot Jones that DW was talking about. Managed to save it.
Got a tire down, I think.
Yeah.
Looks like.
Before the race, he said of all the things that could happen here, he said, I just hate to get loose here. He just did and saved it and did a good job of doing so.
I think that right front tire was mighty soft on that baby.
It's gone. It's flat.
Eli, just to follow up a little bit more, the Goodyear engineers, that's what we stop out here on pit road for all the time. They stick those tires outside edge, center, inside edge. We adjust the cambers according to the heat, and then at the end of the day, we look at the wear and make a final adjustment before the race starts.
So you don't think you'll miss what happened to Buckshot Jones? We'll show you. See him there just shooting to the high side of the racetrack, and never does make any mark on the wall.
No, he got it woed up just in time. He probably felt that tire was soft on him going into 3, and he got it woed up.
I didn't want to bend that car, the one that won Milwaukee.
There you see the leaders right now battling. Your 8th place man, you see on the screen, Jarrett, number 8 position. He's in to make his stop, and here comes Jeff Burton now. Jeff Burton says time to come in at lap number 150. Chad Little, it's all yours.
Yeah, we were down here talking pit strategy with them, and they can go the distance now. They're comfortable with fuel and with tires. So I have a feeling this will be a routine 4-tire stop. Now, they thought about doing 2, but you just can't risk it right here at Dover. It'd be too risky. So they're going to go ahead and do 4 tires, and they'll finish this race out. Let's see how it goes.
Boy, he made a great move getting down into the pit. He came off the racetrack hot and heavy and got it right to the end of pit road in a hurry.
He just went a lap down as well. LaJoie just went by him, but hey, LaJoie's going to have to come in and pit as well.
Indeed, this is all cycling around. Behind this car now, Bobby Labonte's coming in. Kevin LePage is coming in. Matt Yoakum, you've got LePage.
Well, Kevin LePage had been complaining that his car was bad pushing off the corner. They're going to adjust it with air pressure. It's a good time for them. He says his car is really fast. He says, let's just get back out there. But one thing, make sure you clean the windshield because I can barely see out the front. Glenn?
Well, I'm down at Bobby Labonte's pits now. They've already got the right size done. Again, it'll be 4 tires and fuel. That's all. I'm going to move down. Here comes Randy LaJoie, too. Bobby is down and away. We'll run down to LaJoie's pit. I'll see if I can beat him there. Up, he pulls in. And again, they expect no adjustments to the car. Oh, well, they will make a track bar adjustment, slight track bar adjustment, and 4 tires. So a little bit of a chassis adjustment on Randy LaJoie's car. Right side's done. Track bar adjustment is done. They're on the left side now. So pretty good pit work from these guys, particularly when they made an adjustment. These guys don't get as many chances to cut things through. Good stop for LaJoie. 23.3. He's down and away.
Now Terry Labonte is in. Mike Dillon is in. Shane Hall making a stop. So too Ron Barfield. Steve Park begins to decelerate and come down the pit lane. These stops are at lap number 153. So as everything cycles around for the very moment right now, Todd Bodine is the leader at this second. Let's go back down to Glenn.
Well, now waiting on Steve Park. The scoreboard was showing him in the lead until he came down pit road. And Park pulls the AC Delco Chevrolet in. This will also be 4 tires. We're seeing the tires pretty well worn out. I've only seen a couple of cords showing, the one I showed you on Stevie Reed's car, but the rest of them seem to be pretty much worn out, but no cords showing. They're around to the left side now. A little bit of trouble getting the car jacked up there.
Second place man Michael Waltrip is on the pit lane now. The attention of the Band-Aid crew as Steve Park's boys get finished, led by Tony Uri. The leader, as we told you, is Todd Bodine. There he is, and he'll stay on the racetrack for yet another lap.
One of the really things you got to watch as these cars make an entry into the pit lane down here is they slow down on the racetrack. And boy, I tell you, it gets mighty close when oncoming traffic runs up on the back of a car slowing down to get into the pit lane.
We have not yet seen a stop for Elliott Sadler, nor for Hermie Sadler. Here comes Elliott now, and here comes Hermie as we say that. So Todd Bodine is the leader right there. He stays on the racetrack. The Sadler brothers and Jason Keller all pit here at lap number 158.
Mike McLaughlin also in right now.
You know, one of the tough things about a 1-mile racetrack is you want everybody to cycle through this pit stop right here, this exchange, because if you don't, somebody's going to stay out and you're going to go a lap down. That's what you worry about until everybody's made their pit stop.
Phil Parsons now being posted in second spot.
Yeah,
he is back on the right lap now with everybody else having stopped except Todd Bodine.
He could possibly stay out a teeny bit longer because he did come back in, you know, and change that left rear tire. They probably tapped him off with fuel.
Right, he was in at lap 74. The other guy is at lap 51.
Yeah, so I don't know how big of a factor that'll be, but it could be pretty big right at this point.
Because everybody else with new tires is running at a full second a lap faster than he is. We have seen the tires drop off about a second in 50, 60 laps or so. He surely has that much on his tires right now.
Yeah, but you know, all he wants to do right now is stay on the lead lap, hope for a caution right now, and then he'd be back in the race. So he knows he's not that fast, but if he can just endure here a little bit, he'll be better off.
Now to set it for you, there's Todd. Just ahead of him is Phil Parsons by about 2.5 seconds. So Phil is near the end of the lap. Todd right there is the race leader. How come no stop yet, Matt Yoakum? What's the deal?
Eli, you're exactly right. They pitted a little bit later than everyone else, so they're going to wait at least 12 more laps. Clyde McLeod is gambling, hoping to catch a caution so they don't lose on track position. Todd is saying the car is tight, so they're going to fix that when it comes back in.
Parsons tries to hang right in there, currently being shown in second. There's the rundown. We'll be back.
Something.
The Brute Blimp bringing us the pictures high atop Dover Downs International Speedway. That's the back straightaway. The Dover Mall adjacent to the racetrack. There's the Busch Series garage in the middle of the screen, and there she is.
The best smelling blimp in the air.
Didn't even miss a beat.
I'm telling you, I got it. They got it.
Don't forget, folks, the newest location of NASCAR Thunder is now open, the Kentwood Town Center in Cincinnati, Ohio, joining the old locations in Atlanta, Winston-Salem, Knoxville, and Dallas. And this year, 10 to 12 new locations to be announced throughout the course of the year. NASCAR Thunder, the official store of NASCAR, and do look for one opening in your area soon. Great places to stop by and get the latest in NASCAR memorabilia. Right now, you saw Elliott Sadler in the 29, Michael Waltrip in the 21 go by Phil Parsons. Phil is the leader right now, so that will put Elliott and Michael on the tail end of the lead lap. That'll be back in the 11th and 12th positions now. And there you see the summary of who did what during the course of the pit stops moments ago.
But not far behind Phil Parsons is Jeff Burton, and that's really what's got Michael and Sadler hustling, is because when Phil pits, Burton's going to be the leader, and they're going to be pretty daggum close to going a lap down, aren't they?
They will be. They're going to be a lap, or close to being a lap down. You've got the 44 of Bobby Labonte also in the mix right there with Burton and LaJoie and LePage. 31 laps to go, but it's far from over. There you see Bobby Labonte, and right behind him Jeff Burton. They are second and third. There you see the interval. You've got the 63. That's Tracy Leslie, not on the lead lap. A lot going on as everything cycles around during the sequencing of pit stops. We are 30 laps from the finish here in Dover, Delaware. We are 24 laps away from the finish, and everybody is looking at the new race leader here at Dover Downs International Speedway. Bobby Labonte has the advantage over the number 9 of Jeff Burton. They did go by Phil Parsons at lap number 170, and that's what changed things around. You've got Randy LaJoie in third, Kevin LePage fourth, Steve Park is fifth, then Dale Jarrett in sixth, Elton Sawyer is seventh, Todd Bodine is 8th, Terry Labonte is 9th, and Michael Waltrip in 10th. Let's go to Glenn Jarrett. Let's take a look at some tires again, Glenn. What you got?
Well, guys, not to belabor the point, but this tire here is the right front off of Bobby Labonte's car, the one they just took off, and you can see the cords are showing through it. Those guys ran about 90 laps, close to 90 laps on that set of tires. That's more than they thought they could get out of them anyway. That's more than Goodyear really recommended that they ran. So they're pushing the things to the very limit here. The thing was just about ready to go through, but, you know, they can tell by watching the stopwatch when that speed really falls off drastically, get in, and that's exactly what Phil Parsons had to do.
Phil Parsons, we told you, number 1, lost the lead, and then a few moments thereafter went way high in the banking of turns 3 and 4 and managed to save it. I'll tell you, this lead battle is really going to be a good one, but you have to feel for Phil Parsons, Chad. I mean, they stretched it and stretched it. It just didn't work.
No, you're right, Eli. In fact, Phil waited and waited and waited, but it was finally he couldn't wait any longer. He had to come in and get tires. The timing was so right that the right front was actually flat as he came down pit road. And we're going to put on 2. That changed their strategy a little bit. They put on 4, and he's out again and on the way.
Well, again, Eli's looking at the big picture, you know, and the big picture was to put on 4. Got to win that championship or get those points, and you don't want to have a thing stuffed in the fence over here because you didn't change 4 tires.
Phil Parsons now being shown an 18th spot.
Anybody mention that's a Pontiac in the lead of this race, and that it's a Ford in second spot and Chevy in third spot?
They don't talk about that stuff in Busch series.
All right.
They never mention it. Okay. I don't even know what the rules are in this series.
The last Pontiac,
but you never hear them complain or say anything.
Last Pontiac win was 1993. Chuck Bound at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. Last Busch series win for Pontiac. There you see some good scrambles middle of the field right now. That is 7th, 8th, 9th place on your screen. And that's what we were talking about. October the 17th, 93 last time Pontiac showed the way.
And here the rules are the same for all the brands. They all have the same roof height, the same spoiler, the same nose clearance, the same everything. And look how competitive this event is this afternoon between the three brands.
17 laps to go now.
Good point, Dick. Good point.
Elton Sawyer right there. By the way, Elton and his wife, Patty Moise, who was involved in an accident earlier, going to be on TV next week. Actually, later this month, I should say, in the month of June. CBS this morning spent a few days with Elton and Patty, and they're doing a three-part series about their lives together. That's June 25th, 26th, and 27th on CBS this morning.
Well, Elton is a quality young man, a quality driver, and he and Patty, you know, it's really kind of neat if you think about it. The husband and wife out there competing and racing together and doing something they love to do. I think it deserves a special on TV.
There's 7th and 8th spot right there. Todd Bodine and Terry Labonte. Laps winding down to a precious few. Bobby Labonte and Jeff Burton still showing the way 1-2. LaJoie is 3rd. And Bodine 7th in the battle among the top guys in points.
And to put LaJoie in the points lead coming out of here if that stays the way it is.
And again, a $10,000 bonus on the line later today for the point leader in this series after this race.
If LaJoie gets it, it goes to the team. He doesn't get a dime of it. That's part of his deal.
Oh, yes, drivers are all like that. We just want the trophies, the glory. It's not the money.
Yeah, you say that because you're a driver owner, though. You didn't say that when you were just a driver. I remember those days.
I hope Bickle's back in New Hampshire listing right now.
See that move right there, 3 wide with the leaders. That's Bobby Labonte ahead of Jeff Burton as they had to work traffic. We're going away for just 60 seconds. Coming right back. Well, everybody waiting, watching, hoping. The shell team for Bobby Labonte by a car length on Jeff Burton. That is the battle for the lead. 9 laps to go. 9 more times around the Monster Mile. They're about to put a lap on Elton Sawyer. He is the 9th place man. That tells you the pace they're setting here.
Yeah, those two front cars are just ripping around this racetrack. I mean, they're putting laps on cars that were running good all day long.
It has been a remarkably incident-free race, given what we had seen here at practice and qualifying. So many cars backwards into the wall. But once that rubber got us, Tommy Morgan, the crew chief, once the rubber got down on the racetrack, it has become very competitive here this afternoon. No more so than right here for the lead.
You know what, though, Dick? A lot of times that'll happen. The drivers will be so conscious of how bad the conditions are that they are extra cautious when they're racing each other and even setting the cars up. They know they got to have the car under them good for the whole race if they're going to make it to the end. I think that has a lot to do sometime with the races that we expect to be bad turn out to be real good.
7 laps to go. Labonte, Burton, Randy LaJoie is 3rd. Kevin LePage 4th. Steve Park 5th. Then Dale Jarrett. Todd Bodine. Harry Labonte, Elton Sawyer, and Michael Waltrip. That's your top 10.
You got to give Steve Park a call because he has just drove a clean race. He's just been out there and hadn't said much about him, but to come home in 5th place right here is a pretty good yeoman's day's work.
These two guys have done a great job as well. They have woven their way through traffic all day long, stayed at the front of the pack virtually all day, and now here they are getting ready, one of them, to take home the trophy.
Around Joe Bessie they go.
Bobby Labonte seems to have just a teeny bit more straightaway speed than possibly Burton does, and that's how he's able to keep him at bay. Burton closes a little in the turn, but again, Bobby seems to pull him ever so slightly down the straightaway.
Burton's wife, Kim, looking on anxiously.
That's a great turnaround for Jeff Burton. You think about Jeff Burton and the success he's had. Was very limited when he came out of the Busch series, and he hadn't done all that well. All of a sudden, it's like they flipped the switch, and this year he's been a whole new driver, a lot of confidence.
Well, he had Buddy Parrott working with him in the Winston Cup Series. Jack Roush behind him. Tommy Morgan here. surrounding yourselves with quality people like that will surely make a difference.
It will, and I love to listen to Buddy Parrott on the radio. I listen to him on the scanner every now and then. You talking about, I remember him from my days. He was a cheerleader then, and if he doesn't do anything else, he gets you pumped up. He gets you where you want to do your job better than you've ever done it before.
Car number 44, Bobby Labonte. By a car lane. There you see the 3 to go signal from Carl Simmons. Now those who are still on that lap.
This could be interesting, Eli. Bobby is coming up on Terry to lap him. And probably going to happen before we get the checkered flag here. So I wonder if Bob is calling Terry and telling him anything. Bob Labonte, their dad.
They move inside of Mark Crow.
Come on, bro.
Oh, look at Terry move right up.
Let me squeeze up out of your way here, bro.
Yeah. Let's see what he does.
I'll find an opening in line here.
Let me see. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were there.
White flag.
He moves up. Let's Burton have all the room.
But let me tell you, that car, 33 car up there's. No,
Fedewa.
He's all right. I thought that Fedewa was going to hold him up a little bit, but he cleared him.
The 1991 NASCAR Busch Series champion, Bobby Labonte, will take home his 8th career Busch Series win. He wins the GM Goodwrench Delco Battery 200. A lot of high fives, a lot of celebrating down on the pit lane. Good run for Bobby Labonte, who led for the first time today from lap number 14 through lap 80. He ends up leading 97 laps this afternoon. And
you know, Eli, he could have done that just as easily last week. He had a car that dominant last week and had engine trouble or had some problem. So he did a great job today, and Jeff Burton did a great job as well.
Darrell Waltrip, give us some good stuff to talk about tomorrow, would you?
I'd love to, man. I'm starting way back, but the track looks like it's a little friendlier than it was the last time I was on it.
And Chad Little, John Deere, shall I say, give us something good to talk about tomorrow also.
Appreciate it.
Oh, thanks.
He's out of here.
You think he's hurrying to his race car?
He is hurrying to his race car, and so is Darrell Waltrip. They've got the final NASCAR Winston Cup practice. We're not going anywhere either. We're here together with you, so stick around on TNN Motorsports. Monster Mile, but now it is Pontiac in Victory Lane. Ooh, that'll wake you up. Glenn Jarrett.
I'm glad I missed that shower, man. That was cool, but that car was hot. That great race car today. First time you've been in Victory Lane here at Dover, but pretty good race car all day, Bobby.
I wish I'd have missed that shower myself. I tell you, this Shell Pontiac was great to begin with, and they did that caution with for a tire check, and got going there, and you know, those guys were pretty fast, and they had to let them go. And my car was getting a little bit giving up a little bit on new tires, and we put on a set of tires there late in the race that was pretty good.
Well, it looked like it was. I saw when you took those tires off on your last pit stop, a little bit of cord showing there, but you guys ran those tires a long, long time, probably longer than you thought you could have going into the race.
Yeah, we did, and it was, you know, that was a hard run. You know, the first run was pretty hard, but we didn't run quite as many laps. So, you know, it was the deal where we didn't have really a good setup that middle part. In the last setup we did. Got to thank all these guys back here. You know, they're the ones that do it. They all work for me, and that's a great deal. The Pontiac, Shell, MCI, everybody that's on board with us. It's a great deal. Wicks Filters, and thank the Lord for a great race. You know.
Well, one more question, Bobby. I'll let you get the rest of that ice out of your uniform there. Did you learn some things in today's race that will transfer to tomorrow?
Everybody always asks that and always say no. Someone say no, because I can say it.
Well, I like an honest answer, so at least he's consistent.
8th Busch Series win for Bobby Labonte. The last one was in March of '96 in Nashville, Tennessee. And congratulations to Bobby Labonte and the entire Shell team. We are together for about another half hour. Don't you leave. We're coming back to the Monster Mile in a moment. Spotters crossing over the tunnel here. There's a crossover bridge at turn 2, and that main crossover at the start-finish line. The NASCAR Winston Cup teams will be out in just a moment for their final practice runs. Meanwhile, to the garage, Matt Yoakum with our second-place finisher.
Well, Eli, every time Jeff Burton comes here, he almost seems to get just close, but another second place. But just how much fun was that for you?
That's a lot of fun. Racing Randy that hard and then racing Bobby that hard, that's an awful lot of fun. The Kevin LePage ran well. There's a lot of good racers in the Busch Series, and it's a lot of fun to come run here.
You're getting ready to go run happy hour in your Winston Cup car. Well, what did you learn today that you can transfer over that and you guys might try during happy hour?
Well, I have a lot more confidence in the racetrack and the tire combination right now. This racetrack's really hard to get hooked up on, and the more you run, the better it gets. And you were able to run pretty hard there at the end. The track was a little bit more like Dover than it was to begin with, but when we were running by ourselves, I was loose, and then I get behind Bobby, I was tight. So I kind of let Bobby go on, hoping that my car would be better behind him. Well, it pushed real bad, but all the guys on the Track Gear 4 team, they did a heck of a job. Had a great pit stop, got me out in front, and we run again in about 3 months, so we're going to miss this Busch racing for a little while.
Hey, talk about the last lap. Did you have anything left for him?
I had 35 laps to get him. If I was going to get him, I would have been able to by then. Unless he made a mistake or got into trouble with lap cars, I wasn't going to get him. The lap cars benefited him at the last lap, but the chances of me getting him were pretty slim anyway.
Well, that's Jeff Burton, his second place finish here on the Dover High Banks.
And as Jeff was alluding there, their schedule is really a limited schedule with only 6 Busch Series races remaining on their schedule here in 1997. Right now, time for our AutoZone Tech Fact, brought to you by the more than 1,550 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts.
We pit reporters are always talking about guys taking tape off, putting tape on the front end of a race car. Well, we're finally going to find out exactly what they're doing. Bobby Leslie, who is Mark Martin's Busch Grand National crew chief, is going to tell us exactly what they're doing. Bobby, what's going on with all that tape?
Well, you can balance the race car from being tight or loose just by adding tape to it. And usually when the race starts, you'll have it set the way you want it so the water temperature stays the same. If your car's a little bit too tight, you'll have a ½ inch to the bottom here, but then the water will get too much. So you'll see somebody take a little bit off the top to balance the water temperature and balance the race car. And if it's the other way, then you'll see them tear it off the bottom. It's hard to believe that you can balance the race car from just adding a ½ inch of tape or taking it off, but nowadays you can.
Well, it's not too hard for the rest of the teams to believe that Mark Martin's crew can do it because they have been kicking tail the Busch Grand National Circuit this year.
Can he say that on television?
I think he just did.
I think so. You know, one thing is amazing, too. Think about the old days, and it was run what you brung to the racetrack, and now how scientific and precise it is with a little bit of tape here and there.
Yeah, Richard Petty talked about coming here in 1969 with essentially the same deal that they ran Daytona with. They ran there on July the 4th. 2 days later, they were here, had never seen this place before when Richard won it.
Kevin LePage had a fine run here today. Came home in 4th spot behind Labonte, Burton, and Randy LaJoie. Let's hear from Kevin.
Eli, over the past few laps right near the end, Kevin LePage was about 0.3 of a second faster than the leader, but Kevin, no caution to bunch you up.
Well, that's true. The Hype Chevrolet rider tires was I made a mistake today. We had talked as a team that we were going to come in after the leaders for our last stop. I saw Jeff come in off the apron in turns 4. I tried to woe the car down. I couldn't do it. And, you know, I let the team down today. We really had a shot we thought, to win this race. When we were running 3rd, we lost a wheel weight in the car. We had a real bad vibration in the rear. So I was just easing along, you know, and didn't press the issue. And unfortunately, victory went away from me today, and it was my fault, not anybody else's on the race team. But, you know, 2 weeks in a row, 2 top 5s, you know, running with these Cup guys again. I mean, I just got my hats off of the whole organization here. They're doing a super job, and I think we're back where we were last year.
Earlier on, you were battling with Dick Trickle. What happened from your vantage point?
Well, Dick was pushing up on that set of tires, and he pushed up the lap before going into 1, and I got underneath him, got out of the gas, and we did the same thing again. And I thought he knew that I was going to be there because he pushed up the first time, and I gave a run at him, and he come down and we just touched. I hate it. I'm waiting to go over and see Dennis Shoemaker and the group and tell him, you know, it wasn't an intentional deal, but it was just one of them deals. You know, I was getting a better bite on the bottom. He was pushing up. Got my nose underneath him, but here at Dover, all you got to do is just touch them a little bit, and they're away. But, you know, those racing.
Well, it's a 2nd straight week for a top 5 and a big momentum builder for Kevin LePage. Glenn?
Oh, sorry, guys. We're down here in Victory Lane drinking a little Gatorade. There's a reason for this. Randy LaJoie to my left here regained the points lead in today's race, and as I told you at the beginning of the program, he gets the $10,000 front runner award from Gatorade. To his left, that's Ed Scholl. He is the director of NASCAR marketing for Gatorade Worldwide. Ed, give that boy that big check.
I know it's hard to believe, Randy, but the season's halfway over. You're leading in points. That means it's $10,000 from Gatorade for the front runner award. Congratulations.
Thanks, Ed. You know, Base Motorsports, FINA, you know, even though Kool-Aid's my favorite drink, Gatorade gave us a bunch of money to lead halfway here. And thanks for the halfway bonus, but if you had an end of the year bonus, that's the one we really want. So, you know, we just keep digging, and had one bad set of tires at the end and loosened us up a little bit, but hey, we got the point lead back. Gatorade gave us a bunch of money. The team's pretty happy. I'm pretty happy. We're going. Got a weekend off. We're going to relax and go to South Boston.
Well, I made it a little closer than it should have been. You actually got an 8-point lead, but you guys got to feel good. You've been on top. You've been at the top of the point standings for a long, long time. Won the thing last year, right back in the thick of it again this year. What a great team.
Oh, what a great team. What a great sponsor. You know, all our sponsors do a great job. Not only FINA and Kool-Aid and Castle Springs Water. I mean, everybody that helps us out, that helps Base Motorsports out. You know, Birdie and the guys do a great job preparing these race cars. And it sponsors like Gatorade that give the series money to give us a bonus at halfway. I mean, otherwise we're just going to leave here with the point lead. We weren't going to have no check. So, you know, what Gatorade does to the series, it keeps us guys going in the pits when it's hot out, when it's cold out. I mean, we drink Gatorade all the time. So, I mean, I thank Ed and Gatorade. They do a great job, and they help this series.
Well, congratulations, Randy. We even got Steve Bird drinking Gatorade. Ed, thank you. Let's go back to Eli.
All right, guys, thank you. You know what's interesting? Our pole sitter today, Dick Trickle, did not win, and that means that still only one Dover Busch Series race has been won from the pole. Unusual stat. Morgan Shepherd did it in the fall of 1986. Hasn't happened before nor since. Dover Downs International Speedway. Right now, Glenn Jarrett and Todd Bodine getting together to bring you up to speed on a Peerless Faucet innovation in motion. Peerless Faucets, the do-it-for-yourself faucet.
Most race drivers will tell you that one of the most important things about making a race car go fast is to keep that driver comfortable in the car. Todd Bodine has found a new and unique way to do just that. Todd, what is that stuff?
Well, it's a pad deal that we put in a race car. It's a jelly type substance like the consistency of Jello. It was developed by the Kemmler Corporation for bedridden hospital patients so they don't have bed sores. Bruce came to me last year and said he'd like to try it in race car seats, so we've taken it and we've lined our seats with it. It basically takes up the gaps where there's air in the spaces, and where there's a tight spot, it'll give a little bit so you're more comfortable through the whole race.
Gives a whole new meaning to the term driving by the seat of your pants.
He's so witty, isn't he? That's coming up next here on TNN Motorsports. Mike Joy and Buddy Baker standing by up at Loudon, New Hampshire. The Pennzoil 200 for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. 1 mile, flat track, Jack Sprague's on the pole. What else is new? But that's all coming up in just about 15 minutes from now. Live coverage from New Hampshire International Speedway, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. A guy who really did well up there in the past, Steve Park. He loves New Hampshire. There he is, standing by with Matt Yoakum.
Well, Eli, I'll let you in on a little bit of a secret. Steve Park, before today, only had one Busch Series start here at Dover, finished 27th. But he has about, what, maybe 400 miles on this place. I think the NASCAR 2 game was pretty busy at your place last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. We get the opportunity. It seems like all these tracks that I go to I've never been to before. I play on the NASCAR 2 game, and we logged about 800 miles on that game, and I have to turn it down. They make me turn it down at home because I'm trying to watch TV, but it seems to help. It's a great game, and I don't think there's anything that can prepare you for 200 miles here at Dover except for just flat-out experience. And I got experience today from these guys. These Cup guys run this place real good, and to finish fifth to them is a credit to my whole entire AC Delco team and Chevrolet Monte Carlo, and I also like to thank Burger King for the opportunity too.
How big of a battle was it for that 5th place today? Especially had a great run there going with Todd Bodine as well.
It was a great run. You know, our AC Delco Chevrolet Monte Carlo was flying. We were running faster than the leaders at one point, and we caught them right before our last pit stop. And when we made our last pit stop, we came out about 6 seconds behind, and we were gaining on them. We just seemed to run out of laps and run out of time. And we started 13th, and we kind of battled through the field all day today. So my hat's off to my entire crew. I'd just like to thank Dale and Teresa for giving me this opportunity. And this rookie's coming along. I was a little nervous at first and didn't really get the job done in qualifying yesterday. And
I told my guys, I said, just stick with me, buddy. I said, when we get into this race and I get settled down, we'll be okay. The car was driving great, and my hat's off to my crew and my whole entire team, and we're just happy to be fifth today.
Well, you can bet that game will be pretty hot in the next coming weeks. A good fifth-place finish for Steve Park today. Eli?
Quite a talent, Dick Berggren, isn't he?
Unbelievable talent. When you think about it, this kid is in his very first year of Grand National racing. He won Nashville, second at Talladega, second at New Hampshire, fifth here today. Wait till he sees some of these tracks for the second time around. He is going to be a big, big star.
We were talking earlier in our telecast about the fact that the Diamond Ridge Motorsports team, after replacing Robert Presley in their Winston Cup car with driver Jeff Green, elected to shut down their Busch Series car, number 8. It was third in points, and really it raised a lot of eyebrows because they were so high in points, and all of a sudden they say, nope, we're here to go Winston Cup racing. Bill Engel is the team manager for Diamond Ridge Motorsports for Gary Bechtel and the bunch. And Glenn, I know you've got him down there in the garage, and it's interesting. Bill and I were talking yesterday about the numbers of people who have called wanting to buy that great equipment from them.
Well, that certainly is true, Bill. Eli was talking about what you and he were talking about yesterday, the numbers of people that have contacted you about the number 18 now that you guys have parked it.
Yeah, well, last winter when we decided to do this two-team concept, it was all the purpose of putting the two Busch teams on was to build a driver for the Winston Cup Series. The Busch Series is a good stepping stone for guys to come to Winston Cup. It served its purpose. You know, we found us a driver that could get the job done, was dedicated, had the desire, and done all the right things. And, you know, unfortunately, the Winston Cup team just hadn't been performing well this year. The Busch teams have. We were sitting there with an unsponsored car with a driver with the capabilities that could compete in the Winston Cup Series. So we decided to go ahead in 1997, get that learning curve shortened up for Jeff for 1998, and see what happened.
Being as far up in the points as you were in the Busch Grand National Series and having a shot at the title, was it a hard decision to make?
It was a hard decision for Jeff, but not so much for Diamond Ridge Motorsports, because we really didn't get involved in the Busch Series to win a championship, especially with an unsponsored car. You know, he ran real well, and we just decided it was the best thing for Diamond Ridge Motorsports. Jeff wanted to do both. We had several conversations about it, and then after running Charlotte last week, seeing how tough it was to go from one side to the other, how it would be on a week-to-week basis, he agreed that probably in the best interest of everything for Diamond Ridge Motorsports and his future in Winston Cup racing, that it'd be best just to make this move.
Boy, I wish all my guys would explain things that clearly. Thank you so much, Bill. And Bill and I were, Eli, right before I throw it back to you, we were listening to Steve Park, and we have both decided that if he could drive as fast as he talks, nobody could catch him.
Good point, Glenn. Thanks a lot. And Bill Engel with an update on a very interesting story out of the garage area. Don't forget, if you want to get all the information as it unfolds in the world of NASCAR, NASCAR Online, www.nascar.com. That's the computer address to dial in to all that takes place around the world of NASCAR racing. If you're looking for a great place to go with the family, let me suggest Opryland USA. We go up there a good bit, the official destination of NASCAR. You can get all the information you want by dialing that number on your screen, 615-889-6611. And if you're wondering, yes, the Food Lion TNN Salute to Motorsports is returning here in 1997. It's all coming up at Opryland USA. The dates are June 25th through the 29th. And for more information, just call that same number, 615-889-6611. That phone line operational Monday through Friday for all the info you need on the Food Lion TNN Salute to Motorsports, upcoming at Opryland. They haven't started happy hour yet, but the work is continuing. We're coming right back. Delaware, there's a good look at the horse racing complex, the enclosed grandstand. That is the front side of the horse track, the backstretch of the Super Speedway. Todd Bodine today, 14th top 10 finish of 1996. Let's hear from him.
Well, boy, it was a tough 7th place finish, Todd. Just how big of a battle was it for that 7th place?
I tell you, that's the hardest I've worked in a long time. I tell you, we just totally missed the setup. The Stanley Pontiac was really, it was a handful. That's the only way to put it. I mean, I drove my rear end off all day, and you know, we ended up with 7th. It's a pretty bad day, though. I'm not real happy. The car didn't run good, and lost the points lead, and lost that 10 grand. I don't know. Me and Mike and myself, my wife Lynn, were going to go to Atlantic City after this. As bad as luck as I've had today, I don't think I need to go.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you look at that points chase, it seems like about every other race, you and Randy seem to pass it back and forth. None of you guys can just kind of be the rabbit and just get a big head start.
I know it. That's the way it's been all year. You know, we've had a good tight race. You know, it seems like when I finish good and finish, you know, top 5, I look in the mirror and there's Randy right behind me. And I was trying to do that to him today so I wouldn't lose that points lead, but I couldn't get to him. Our car was not that good. So, you know, we'll just keep battling all year. You know, he's got a real good team. The Stanley crew, they work hard every day, and we're going to stick with it.
Well, that's Todd Bodine. They're going to take a couple weeks off, then head to South Boston, where he won there last year. Eli?
And as we said, 14 top 10s for him here in 1997. Let's take a look at the results for you from today's event. And there you see it, Bobby Labonte and Pontiac on the top rung of the leaderboard today. Some good runs there. Michael Waltrip hung around for a top 10 finish today. Further back in the top 20, there's old Elliott Sadler. Hermie came up from the back deck.
And a good run for Matt Kenseth. 11th position, his very first time ever here at Dover.
Taking you even further back, Stevie Reeves, about whom we bragged early, backslid a bit to 21st spot. In and out of pit road for Tracy Leslie. He came home in 22nd. Randy Porter was 29th here today. And down towards the finish, first out of the event there, Patty Moise, who was involved in that accident back on lap number 5. As far as the series point standings are concerned, to the winner go the spoils. Labonte winning by a half second. That's how the points stack up, though. Just 10 separating the top 2. And Phil Parsons now in 3rd spot, again with Jeff Green no longer in the NASCAR Busch Series. Don't you folks leave us now, because as soon as this crew wraps up here at the Monster Mile, that's what's coming up next. Mike Joy, Buddy Baker, Mike Hogwood, the whole crew standing by at New Hampshire International Speedway. The Pennzoil 200 for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. That is coming up next here on TNN Motorsports. We will talk to you again tomorrow, 12 noon Eastern Time. The Miller 500 for the NASCAR Winston Cup teams. He'll be the pole sitter tomorrow. Different car, but a lot of interesting storylines to talk about. That's tomorrow, 12 noon Eastern Time. Our thanks to Darrell Waltrip, Dick Berggren, Glenn Jarrett, Matt Yoakum, and Chad Little. I'm Eli Gold. Thanks for hanging with us here at Dover. The trucks are coming up next from New Hampshire, and we'll see you tomorrow at noon. So long, everybody.